Welcome back. Well, we have Dan Daly and Grace Carpenter here on behalf of the Fit Brain Club. Welcome, both of you. Nice to see you. And I know prior to us coming on, we've been chit-chatting a little bit about my dad, who is experiencing, many of the things that we talk about. And I think this is a really good subject matter that's coming up because it talks about other people having memory loss, not
the effect.
not yourself or a loved one, but it's someone that you might know, which is a great thing. Because I'm obviously dealing with a loved one, but you don't know who he is, and yet I'm talking to you about him. So this is the kind of thing I think this is probably what this is associated with. So what I want to do first, though, is I'd like you both to introduce yourselves. I know we've had you on many times, but many people watching don't know who you are and your association with Alzheimer's OC and the Fit Brain Club. So Dan, let's start with you.
I'm Dan Daly. I'm a healthcare outreach specialist for Alzheimer's Orange County. I've been with them for 9 years, and I mainly call on physicians, neurologists, geriatricians, but I'm also involved with the outreach as far as churches, senior centers, skilled nursing facilities, all of the assisted living facilities, memory care units. So we interact with all of the healthcare professionals, and to make them aware of all the programs and services we provide.
Okay. And what led you to volunteer with them?
Actually, I was a conservator for a good friend of mine, and he was like an older brother to me. And he had been diagnosed with early onset of Alzheimer's, and that was about 17 years ago. And as a result of that, from the time of his diagnosis till he passed was exactly 5 years. And I learned an awful lot as far as I was working at the time for a medical device company, and I'd see him 3 or 4 times a week.
Right.
And I placed him into a facility in San Juan Capistrano. So I'd go and see him 3 or 4 times a week, have breakfast with him or dinner, whatever. And after he passed, I felt like I wanted to do something in his name for Alzheimer's. So I contacted Alzheimer's, and I was on the Speakers Bureau for about a year as a volunteer. And believe me, I can empathize 100% with families and what they're going through because of all the emotional challenges, and it's a roller coaster ride.
Well, it can be a very debilitating disease, and it's not quick. It's something that just goes on for a long period of time, which is unfortunate. So Grace, tell me about yourself and how you got involved.
Well, I'm a retired educator, nurse first. My husband was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and we went through the usual denial stages. He's a very intelligent man. It was very challenging. For a year, things went well, but then in the end, I had to deal with his denial. And also at the same time, a neighbor's denial, which is why this topic, Help My Neighbor Has Memory Loss, is so important for us. And I was trying to get the neighbor and his wife out of denial, and it was very challenging. Now I want to volunteer, kind of in honor of Steve and John, 2 people who I worked with, and I get calls every day from the neighborhood. I'm a neighborhood captain, and we work in the neighborhood to get, it's a community. If we have to take a car away, Dan and I were talking about what we do when you got to get the keys
and that can be
car.
That's a very touchy subject, because that's one independent thing that they never want to have, no matter what it is, if they can't see, if they are having trouble walking, whatever the case might be. So we just have a few minutes here. I want to make sure we touch about, I want everyone to know a little bit about you, because I think it's important to know how you get involved with organizations like this. And let's talk a little bit about, My Neighbor Has Memory Loss. Let's talk about the person that's going to be running the meeting. She's a licensed clinical social worker. Tell me about Tony.
Yes.
Tony has been with us for about 2 years right now, and she's going to talk about the wandering, which is a major problem.
Did you pick this subject because my dad, I told you, he was wandering around? I mean, it was just, it's such an interesting thing that all of a sudden they have no boundaries.
Right.
And they sometimes decide to take off all their clothes and wander.
That's right.
Oh,
In
yeah.
public.
Yeah.
That's one thing I just don't get.
That's
So this is a great subject.
Yes.
Yeah, she'll talk about wandering and the side effects of wandering. The major problem with it is the safety feature
Sure.
of wandering. Because once they walk out that front door and somebody stops them and says, you know, where do you live? Do you know how to get back home? Once they leave that front door, they don't know. They are totally lost.
Yeah.
The other problem is that communicate with the neighborhood. You should let the neighbors know that what the status is of your loved one.
Yeah.
And that no matter the cause, no matter what type of dementia it is, they have to be aware because of the fact that there's a safety feature,
Right.
there's a security feature, and it's all very important.
Right. And, you know, I've been seeing a few things, you know, on Facebook posts. Missing person. I mean, and they are mostly elderly folks
Yes,
who
they
can't
are.
find their way home, and it's really frightening. And I'm sure there might be something that she would suggest, maybe a name tag or some
Yes.
sort of a wrist identification of some sort, so when they do happen to
Yes.
get lost. So tell me about the meeting and when it is.
Well, it's Monday, this coming Monday on the
Monday.
13th, and it's, of course, Clubhouse 1 in the art room.
Okay.
It is free, and Adapt to It does the free refreshments, Starbucks coffee and all that. Mark Hochberg will play some relaxing music to get us started.
Okay.
And Tony will do the presentation. And I wanted to say that one of the important aspects of all of this is how people don't understand their smells and their tastes, and when they get lost, they might be having what we call olfactory hallucinations, and this is an issue I had to deal with in my neighborhood. They kept smelling smoke, thinking some of us were smoking marijuana, burning things, and we're like, no, but we had to
I've not
call
heard of
social
that.
services in.
Oh, my
And if
heavens.
everybody will write down social services phone number.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have it posted, but our social services right here, 949-597-4267. Call social services.
Okay.
They helped me, they will help you.
Well, exactly, and they are a wealth of information. And then, of course, if people want more information about what we're discussing today, they can always do fitbrain.us or the Alzheimer's OC
Yes.
website. So both, you know, great organizations. Thank you both for participating,
Thank you.
as well as sharing the information with us.
Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, nice to see you again. Thank you
too.
for the opportunity.
Thank you. And as I mentioned, you can always get in touch with the Alzheimer's Orange County, which is alzoc.org or fitbrain.us. We'll be right back.